All right, good people. Good morning. Good Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. This is the second installment of Let's Talk About It, Student Counseling Services and Friends. And what we're doing here, we're just having conversations, about mental health, about just what we're going through right now in society. A lot of our talks have been about, surviving the quarantine, basically. And so we continue that talk today. Just so you know, in student counseling services, we're still operating. We're operating from a distance counseling model. So if you're wanting to continue services, if you've already been in services, you can do that. Just connect with your therapist. If you're wanting to begin services, just reach out to counseling services. We will get back to you and you will be set up with an appointment. All right, so today we have a very special guest, somebody I was able to connect with last week. And with that connection, decided to, bring her back for the pod. And she brought a lot of perspective from the student lens and our own personal lens of what it's like to be in this current situation we're in. She is the definition of a student leader on campus for sure. And her name is Morgan, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Morgan, tell us about yourself.
Hi. All right. Good morning. My name is Morgan Richardson. I'm a junior majoring in political science with a double minor in Spanish for business and African American studies. I am the current volunteer coordinator for the Black Student Awareness Committee here on campus, which is actually how we met and networked. And I'm also a peer career consultant for the Career Center.
All right. So a lot of titles. What's your major and where are you in school right now? As far as what year are you?
So I'm a junior. In 2 weeks, I will be a senior, which is kind of scary. It's kind of scary, but yeah, moving right along. About to really be out here in the world. I'm studying political science, and what I really want to do is focus on community development, especially economic and educational development in minority communities, specifically focusing on the Black community and the Latinx and Hispanic communities. So that's where the Spanish for business minor comes in.
Okay, good deal. So to get things started, the thing that's happening today is, the COVID-19 quarantine process. And so as a student, tell me how that is impacting you.
So students, I don't think we really saw this coming. Like we knew there were rumors that UAB would possibly shut down like other schools were doing, but like everyone else in the state, I think we were really underestimating the virus, and we were really thinking, oh, that won't happen to us. They're just going to extend spring break. It's not going to be that bad. And then next thing you know, spring break's extended, and then we're closed for the whole semester. And then students in the dorm, it's just like, okay, grab your things and don't come back until we tell you. So things, they really change like really, really fast. And something that we talked about last week is I feel like if students don't really take the time to sit down and like process everything that's going on right now, it's just going to go by in a blur, and we're not going to really understand what just happened. Like for me personally, the majority of my belongings are still on campus in my dorm, but I can't go get them. All I know is I was told, yeah, we'll extend spring break, just move out and don't come back. So that happened, and we were just waiting, and then classes started. So once classes started back, it was more like, okay, well now my mindset is on classes. I'm not really focusing on when can I get my stuff and when is the university going to get back to normal. I just kind of felt like unless students have an outlet to really sit down and process what's going on, we're not going to really understand it, and it might like manifest in different ways, like stress and anxiety and things such as that.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what you said last week when you said, whether people realize it or not, we really are going through something that's traumatic. It's almost like living through one of these Alabama tornadoes. It's almost like another natural disaster, which I agree with completely, because so many aspects of our lives have changed so quickly, and then we don't know when we'll get our normal back. I think that's the most pressing part, like the most annoying part of this, is we don't know when
Yeah.
we'll return to normalcy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that normacy piece is something that resonates with, people across the board, like what that will look like going forward. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and so one of the things that for me personally, because this has been an adjustment for, you know, people that work at UAB as well as students, is that, that return to normalcy seems to be so far in the future, whatever that looks like. The challenge has been like, bringing it back to the moment and
Mm-hmm.
controlling what I can right now. And so I know for me, it's definitely a level of gratitude that takes place when I look at, having my family here, being able to work from home. I know a lot of people don't have that option. Uh, being able to actually, uh, you know, stay safe at home and not have to, worry too much about food and stuff like that. But I know that's not the case for a lot of people. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is definitely important to me. And so when you think about, you know, knowing that the future exists, knowing that what, what normal looks like going forward, what are some things that, you do to, stay in the moment and control what you can?
To control what I can, just having a constant reminder of, okay, there's only 2 more weeks of school. I can, try to push through and power through these weeks, and then focus on, hey, what's the summer internship gonna look like?
Yeah.
Um, still trying to have some normal things. So before we left school, I was going to like a Monday night yoga class at the rec every Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still doing yoga. I'm going out and walking my dog. I'm sometimes going to Red Mountain Park and still trying to, practice social distancing, staying a safe distance away from folks. But like doing the normal things that I do to like take care of myself, like cooking and walking the dog or doing yoga and stuff like that. And just almost trying to like transition to the next phase. So we know summer classes, that's all going to be online. There's no events that can be hosted throughout the entire summer. So from here, and I feel like a lot of students are about to try to figure this out. It's like, well, what do we do for the summer? Like a lot of students had plans to have internships, study abroad, go here, go there, do this. What's that going to look like if we have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
intern home?
Yeah. So I know you mentioned last week that how that directly impacted you. So tell us about that.
So one of my biggest goals has been to study abroad. So I'm studying Spanish right now, but I would really, really, really love to study abroad in a Spanish-speaking country, preferably Costa Rica. Just because I really like the culture in that nation, and I also know that there are many Afro-Costa Ricans.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be able to utilize both of my minors in one place, and I was finally going to be able to do that this year. I originally planned a trip to Spain. It was supposed to be for the entire month of May, but due to the coronavirus, that's been canceled. I said, okay, fine. I'll schedule a study abroad trip to Costa Rica in July. Maybe things will be better by then. No. UAB sent out an email and said hey, all study abroad is canceled through August 15th. So literally everything with UAB, anything in person, traveling, internationally, nationally, is all canceled until August 15th. So at the moment, I'm kind of just like, well, I saved up all this money, I put in all this effort, do my research, get my passport, get my paperwork in. And now I'm just kind of in limbo. I'm kind of like, well, what can I do now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the resources to study abroad an entire semester, and I have too many jobs on campus to leave the country for an entire semester.
Yeah.
So this would have been my perfect window to study abroad. Finally had the
Mm.
money, finally had the credits. I was in the right place. It was everything stacked up. I had all my eggs in one basket for one
Yeah.
summer, and now that summer is gone. So I'm trying to figure out, can this be something that I make happen over Thanksgiving, Christmas break, or spring break? Because I want to
Yeah.
study abroad before I graduate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great reframe and great way to look at it as far as like, looking at other options, whether it be over Thanksgiving break or Christmas break. And um, this is impactful right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you put yourself in a position through your hard work, through your preparation, through your research, to be in a position to study abroad. I know there's a huge push to, get more Black students to study abroad. And so, you know, how do you navigate those emotions, those feelings of, that not taking place?
Mm, to be honest, I think I'm taking it better than I usually would. Like when I got that email, when I got the email saying all study abroad was canceled, I was kind of like, are you serious? And normally I would expect for me to just be like down in the dumps, just so mad. But for some reason in my mind, like I just feel like it is going to happen eventually.
Mm.
In my mind, I'm not letting myself believe that I will not get to study abroad in a Spanish-speaking country before I graduate. I can't come to terms to believe that because it's something that I want so bad. So
Yeah,
I'm just, at this point, I'm just being really, really hopeful and optimistic that maybe hopefully there will be other opportunities to still literally make this dream come true.
yeah,
I can't afford to think, oh, it'll never ever happen. I'm just stuck here in the US learning Spanish from a book when I could
yeah,
be from native speakers, especially native speakers who look like me, you know?
yeah, 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 yeah. And that, it takes a lot to, maintain that that perspective, and it shows a lot of resiliency on your part. Now, being a student leader, especially in the SNDP office, that is a very welcoming space. I know it's welcoming to me when I come by and visit. What have you been hearing from other students and how they have just expressed the adjustment themselves?
Um, some of the biggest thing that I'm hearing from other students, it's more of, we're more focused on academics right now. People are worried about their credits, their
Mm-hmm.
GPAs. There's petitions going around saying UAB needs to change the grading scale. We need more than just giving us the pass-fail option, you know? First, there were
Mm-hmm.
petitions for the pass-fail options, and now it's petitions for a different grading scale. Students are worried about their grades. People are frustrated that we've had to transition to online classes completely, and online classes are great and convenient, but that's not everybody's, that's not everybody's speed. Like personally, I don't like online classes. I like
Mm-hmm.
having a lecture where I can write down notes, but at this point I don't have lectures anymore. So I would say the number one thing I'm hearing from students is the frustration with having to be online, and the frustration and the disappointment from not being able to graduate in person.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, frustrating things for students right now. And a lot of people are trying to, like, you know, kind of see the light side of it, making jokes about it, making memes about it. But at the end of the day, people are still really disappointed. I mean, you want to dress up and do your hair, do your makeup, and walk across the stage. You don't want to, sit in the Zoom conference to graduate for something that
Yeah.
you paid, what, $80,000 to $100,000 to get,
Yeah. Yeah.
So academics is like academic stress right now. Like that's a huge thing for students.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't imagine to be in that situation. Like you say, you invest so much money to get to that point. And I have some students who are graduating this semester that I've worked with for majority of the time I've been at UAB, whether in counseling or whether in an advisement role. And some of them have some, extremely powerful narratives of a lot of struggle to get to this point. And, for the culmination to be, like you said, a delayed graduation or a Zoom graduation, if any graduation.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in. And, one thing I have seen, which has been refreshing, is that, some students are still doing their graduation photos as if, they're having a commencement. And I love to see that because, you deserve to celebrate that. And I know that has become a huge deal in regards to graduations, having those graduation photos. And,
yeah, it's a huge lucrative industry. Grad
Yes.
pictures is huge right now. So for the students who plan that out, spend a lot of money on it, bought outfits, plan scenery and that kind of stuff, I could see how that would be a huge, huge, huge disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah. When I graduated, it was just Olin Mills pics and pictures in the front yard with your mama taking them. It wasn't any, anything like this. But it's good that people are doing that. And I think that's another example of just, controlling what you can in a situation like this. So when it comes to, I know students have expressed frustration when it comes to graduation and the online classes. We talked last week about what people have expressed and just not having the access to being on campus, just like coming by the SNDP office, because, it can be such a just, welcoming space for students. What are some of the things that, you mentioned last week when we talked about that?
So especially for students who thrive off of being around their friends, seeing a familiar face, and not just like people who thrive off of that, just people in general, it's pretty common, you might be having a bad day, but then you see a person that you have a good relationship with, or you see your coworker that you always have a good conversation with, and they just like brighten your day and they just make you smile. We can't do that anymore. There's no spontaneous, hey, you want to get lunch, or hey, you want to meet me in the office, or things like that, so I think that's really hurting students, just not being able to, like, the accessibility to other people. For some students, I know one person has told me personally, they were like, well, you were one person that I really looked forward to seeing in the office every day, and now I'm stuck here at home in a unfavorable situation, an undesirable situation. Not everybody has a healthy or stable home life. We don't know what situation people are going back to. We don't know what their relationship with their family or significant other or roommate is like. So yeah, being confined to a house for weeks and almost a month, because tomorrow it will literally be a month since I have been at home.
Oh, wow.
without going. I've been to the park, I've been to the grocery store, but that's about it, for the most part. I've been in the house. But yeah, I think my generation definitely strives off of not just social interaction online, but also social interaction of being together and, being able to meet up at the Hill Student Center, being able to meet up in the SNDP office and just eat lunch and stuff like that. There will never be like you'll never go in that office and it's completely empty. If it's lunchtime on any given weekday, there's tons of people in there. Rebecca's probably playing music in her office with her speaker. Like it's very welcoming and inviting. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
couches in there. There's a
Yeah.
long dining table in there where 20 people can eat together. So it's like a culture shock basically for my generation, because we're so used to socializing and being together, and now we're being forced to be put online. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, being online is great and all until it's not, and social media is great and all until it's not, to where
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
becomes toxic, where you find yourself scrolling on Instagram for hours and hours, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel nothing, you've accomplished nothing, you're just kind of like zoned in into looking into other people's fake lives. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm worried about. Like, social media itself is already dangerous, but imagine how much social media we're consuming now every single day. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
imagine how much more dangerous it is, you know?
Yeah. One thing we talk about definitely is that relationship to your phone, and what that can look like, and what you consume in regards to social media is impactful. It already was, and like you say,
Mm-hmm.
right now with the society being the way it is, you have much more time for that. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing you touched on is that students come from all sorts of backgrounds, and for some students, being on campus or just being in their apartment close to campus was, their respite, their independence, their sense of security. And then,
Mm-hmm.
what you go back home to uh, may not be great.
Yeah.
So, from I've had students with, living insecurities, food insecurities, or just like you say, bad relationships with the family. And
Mm-hmm.
so, being back at home or being back wherever you are is another layer of the student adjustment that sometimes people aren't aware of. And I think, they're doing a lot with the grants from the emergency fund for students. I know the Commons was giving out food. I think they may still be giving out food, uh, for students, trying to, help as much as possible, Blazer Kitchen and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And even with all those resources, the difficulty is still there. Um, so what is something that, even though you're a student, I mean, you're a student leader and you're a student first. What is something that you would, say to other students right now who are, in this situation?
Um, so like I said, for me, what keeps giving me hope is my desire to study abroad. It's something that I want so bad. I cannot bring myself to terms to believe that it won't happen. So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out ways to make it happen. Like, I know our situation is undesirable, it's crazy, it's mixed up right now, and we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But just find some aspect of school, find some goal that you already had pre-pandemic and hold on
Mm-hmm.
to it for dear life, and tell yourself, while it might not be happening now, I know
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go on, I don't want to finish my college career without doing this, or without having this, or completing this, or accomplishing this. So like, find something that you absolutely know you want to do, or it's some goal that you absolutely know you want to achieve, and just tell yourself, okay, well, I can't do it now, but somehow, some way, I'm going to make it happen, whether that's studying abroad, or raising your GPA, or doing a special dissertation paper, whatever it is, special
Mm-hmm.
conference, whatever, or shadowing someone, or working with someone, or some kind of internship,
Mm-hmm.
just desperately wanting it so bad that it pushes you through the pandemic, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you can almost like visualize post pandemic, somehow I'm still going to be reaching towards this, and somehow I'm still going to make this happen. I don't
Yep.
know how,
Yeah.
I don't know when, but in my mind, I will not let myself believe that it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And that's a great way of looking at it. You know, finding your why. You know, what's your why?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it may adjust a little bit, you know, but, you know, what's your why? And then working towards that, and then remaining resilient in the process, you know. And so that's great information. It's great information. So, you know, you shared a lot. You talked about being a student whose stuff is still on campus, you know, having to adjust
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, changes when it comes to your plans when it studying abroad, uh, what it means being a student leader on campus. And I think, you know, all this information is very valuable and much in needed information when it comes to the student experience. And so I'm sure, like, you know, many students and many workers at UAB were all experiencing some technology fatigue and Zoom fatigue. And,
Mm-hmm.
but then, you know, it gives us the opportunity also to try to, in the best way possible, provide, you know, opportunities for services and connection during this time frame. So what do you think, you know, when it comes to just using what we have, uh, we can do to meet the needs of the students right now?
In terms from like the perspective of faculty and staff.
Yeah, faculty and staff, whether it be, you know, events. I know SMDP does office hours. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure other people do the same. We do the distance counseling. So from a student perspective, what do you think are some things that students would benefit from right now?
Continue reaching out to us um, as a friend first before as like a student. And by a student, I mean like you're a student, meaning you're my obligation because I get paid to do this. Like I've really appreciated faculty and staff reaching out to me as a friend first. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of my advisors in the SMDP office, they're reaching out and saying, hey, whatever y'all need, if you want to talk about anything, I have open office hours for this. We can do this. We can do that. My
Mm-hmm.
Spanish professor, who is absolutely amazing, I
Mm-hmm.
emailed him about a grade one day, and he was like, yeah, we'll work the grade out. Don't worry about that. But how are you? I want to check on you first and see how you were doing. In a
Yeah,
time like
yeah,
this, like, that means so much. And I'm very, very grateful for the people who have been so sweet and so considerate to just pause the bureaucracy for a second, you
mm-hmm.
know, who have said, you know, we're not going to talk about grades right now. We're not going to talk about emails or meetings. Like, how are you doing? So, and people who genuinely want to know how we're doing, that's something that I'm very appreciative for. So when it comes to faculty and staff, I would say continue to reach out to us as a friend first before reaching out to us as this student is my responsibility, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So real connections versus the business
Yeah.
transaction of it.
And
Yeah,
to be as genuine as possible, you know?
yeah. I think that's, you know, more good information, and, you know, hopefully that, you know, people that watch this, staff, faculty, y'all see this and y'all, you know, respond to that. And so that being said, you know, that wraps up, you know, this part of it. Now, this is conversational, and I mean, we like to have fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you've been binge watching? Did you say you watched Tiger King or not? I know we discussed that last
I
time.
did. I did watch
Uh-oh.
it. And for me, I don't know, it was really comical to me. Like,
Yeah,
I know it's
yeah,
supposed to be like murder mystery, but the people on there, they're so outrageous. To me, I'm like, well, how can you not laugh at this? How can
yeah.
you not laugh at these people who they all have something in common? Like, they're all obsessed with big cats. They all have to have like multiple husbands and wives at a time, or, you know, have been through multiple husbands and wives and girlfriends or whatever. um
They
I don't
take
know,
wedding
it was
pictures with a dog collar. Did
yeah,
you?
it was comical to me. But
Yeah,
personally, I think the majority of people on that show need to be in prison right now. Joe was not the only person doing dirty. I'm surprised that he's the only one in prison, but I mean, I just feel like in the near future, a lot of people are going to be in prison sometime soon. So
Yeah, when you talk about how to feed somebody to a tiger with sardine juice.
I don't know if I that. I don't think I really don't think she killed her husband.
You don't think so?
No, I think he was smart enough and he had the assets to like fake his disappearance or fake his death and like just leave. Because it sounds like she was, in my mind, I'm thinking he is somewhere in Costa Rica, like living his best life on some beach. He doesn't even know who Kim Baskin is. And I hope that's the case. I hope he just, disappeared off the map and was like, hey, maybe he changed his name or whatever. I don't know. She got life insurance money, so they went their separate ways, and I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead.
You're the first person I've heard say that. Yeah.
A lot of people think she killed him and fed him to tigers. I don't know. She didn't come across as crazy enough to do that. Like, she came across as crazy enough to give death threats, but not to like truly put him through a meat grinder and like feed him to
the tigers. Yeah, that was that whole thing was just one mouth drop after the other, and it's like, we live in society with people like this, and it's hilarious. The funniest thing to me, and this was after the one person had their arm bit off by the tiger, which was not funny. That wasn't funny. But when Joe popped up with that paramedics EMT bomber jacket and ran on the scene with that bomb.
He is the biggest character of all.
Man.
And I was just like, he's entertaining though, and that's why he had all those people watching his videos. He's an oddball, and he's just so just like out there and flamboyant. So that's what makes people want to watch. It's like, okay, you don't see characters like this all the time. And then to run for president and to run for governor, that's what got me. That was the funniest part for me.
He was really running for those offices. And for governor, he got like 19% of the vote running for.
He actually got votes. He actually got votes. And he would get up and tell people, he would say, look, I'm broke. It's about time somebody broke like me and you get in office. It was just hilarious to me. That was my favorite part. Him actually legit running for president and running for governor, and then like having the campaign manager. I was like, wow. He just
Yeah.
And
it's the funniest thing that happened to the coronavirus.
It was like Joe yeah, it was crazy, but he was definitely entertaining. That's what I'll say.
Well, good deal. Well, all right. Well, that's our time, and it's been great talking to you. And like I said earlier, student counseling services, we're still operating. And so if you're looking for services, just call in for new clients. And if you already have a therapist, reach out to them, and we can do distance counseling and phone counseling. Well, distance being Zoom meetings or phone meetings. So Morgan, thank you. And you have a great rest of the day. And if you need anything at any point in time, you let me know, and we will be in contact about reaching out to the students and having a Black Experience group before the semester is over, because we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the students and meeting them where they are. Right now, they're not on campus, so we're going to reach out and we're going to have connections and we're going to talk about this. And so this is another episode of Let's Talk About It with Student Counseling Services and Friends. Morgan, we appreciate you, and you have a great day.